The commandment for Decalogue 9 is, "You shall not covet your neighbor's wife." Decalogue 9 is a return to form from the dip in the series quality of Decalogue 7 and 8. The story is a simple one. A man finds out that he is impotent and encourages his wife to have an affair. When she does, he's overtaken by intense jealousy, and her by extreme regret. It's another Decalogue episode that explores the boundaries of love. Where other episodes explored how you can love another person, this one asks, where does love come from? And more specifically, can love and sex be separated? In the beginning, after Roman tells his wife, Hanka, that he's impotent, and probably will be for the rest of his life, she states that love is in the heart, not between the legs. And so begins the conflict of the episode, as she takes a dopey physics student to sleep with, but keeps Roman as her husband, which tests their marriage and their love. Is love solely in the heart? I don't think so. I'm not going to wax poetic about love right now. This isn't that kind of channel. But in the episode, the message is clear. Love and sex are intertwined. For one, the fact that Hanka sleeps with another man tears Roman apart, even though he gave her the go-ahead. He resorts to spying on her, tapping her phone, duplicating her keys, and more. He has this masochistic fascination with her affair. It's killing him to watch, but he can't look away. On the other hand, the physics student Mariusz falls in love with Hanka. They don't have much of a relationship apart from sex, but he still becomes incredibly infatuated with her, encouraging her to divorce Roman and marry him. But she doesn't love him back. Hanka realizes that it wasn't as simple as finding a man willing to fulfill her sexual desires. It's never really that simple. Instead, she has a man who is madly in love with her and that she doesn't want to be with, and a man falling out of love with her that she wants to live her life with. I want to point out the cinematography in this episode. Much like Decalogue 3, there is a penchant for placing objects in the foreground or looking through windows. This signals to us that we're spying on the characters. Adding to this, he plays with objects and light to isolate characters in the scene. In the scene in which Hanka breaks up with the physics student, we're looking from the POV of Roman, spying on them, isolating the characters as his focus shifts. But close to the beginning of the episode, when Roman and Hanka talk in the elevator is black, except for passing lights, which highlight them one at a time. We know immediately that there's a separation between the two. This is a prime example of cinematography telling the story. There's also this subplot in Decalogue 9, where Roman and his patient Ola playfully butt heads. It's almost flirtatious. Her mom wants her to undergo heart surgery so she can sing professionally, but she just wants a family and a simple life. She has a beautiful voice, as we hear, and Roman believes, too, that she should share that voice with the world. Although he does note that the surgery her mom wants performed on her is really only reserved for life or death situations. She's unwilling, but she gives in. After the surgery, she tells him that she hates him, because now she wants to sing. And this ties in with Roman's story, as in the beginning, he regrets not having kids, saying that it would make his marriage easier now at this stage in his life. Hanka shares his sentiment. Perhaps the impotence is a manifestation of their unwillingness to bear children. It certainly does seem like that, to me at least. That may be why Hanka goes after a young, fertile man, the exact opposite of Roman. And Mariusz is kind of an amalgamation of Krzysztof from Decalogue 1 and Magda from Decalogue 6. He's a man of science, and he derives his love purely from the physical. And who is the character of Roman? I mean, he is a bit of a cuck, isn't he? Who would let their wife sleep with other men? It's something to think about, yet still I feel for the guy. As hard as that may be. For any guy, I mean, the news that we're impotent for the rest of our lives is pretty devastating, especially if we haven't had any kids. It's a point of no return. It's not the death of a child, like in some other episodes. It's their perpetual non-existence. The episode ties into Decalogue 6 in an interesting way that I want to point out. So in Decalogue 6, Tomek attempts suicide because his love for Magda became physical. In Decalogue 9, Roman attempts suicide because the physicality left his relationship. And Victoria pointed this out to me, that Kieslowski uses his glove compartment as a visual metaphor for his impotence. He can't close it, no matter how hard he tries. Pun intended. It just doesn't shut. And soon enough, that's where he finds Marush's physics book. The younger man took his place in that aspect of his life. And talking about visual metaphors, Kieslowski goes overboard with the phallic symbols in this one. I mean, I'm not a fan of Laura Mulvey, and you'll never hear me singing her praises. Trust me on that. However, you have to be blind to miss the phallic symbolism in this one. The one that really stuck out to me was when Roman helped the man pump gas. Come on. Look at that and tell me that isn't phallic. The other, possibly less obvious case of this was Roman getting skis for his wife and his Decalogue. So we have to look at Barkish. What role did he play in this one? He's a bicyclist in 9. And he passes by Roman after Roman hears about his lifelong impotence. And he passes by Roman again near the end, after Roman tries to kill himself. Even though Roman attempts suicide, the ending is fairly happy, as Honka completely rejects Mariusz for Roman and rushes home. Plus, they now plan to adopt. Although, I can't shake the feeling that the ending is a fantasy. Something about him going unconscious and then communicating to her via phone leaves me uneasy about whether or not this is actually happening. Before I leave you all, I want to make one last observation. Unfortunately, I won't have time to discuss the Three Colors trilogy, like I had planned. But I see the seeds for Three Colors red in this episode. There is the theme of spying through telephones that Kieslowski carries over into the later film. Now, I don't know if it means anything or if it's an actual link, but I like noticing it when directors carry ideas over in their works. It just makes their stuff interesting to watch.